hey, we're not into marketing, we're into ministry. Well, I actually agree with that. I believe in a ministry first marketing strategy. I don't believe it's just about putting billboards up and flyers, but I think that ministering first is the most effective strategy. However, when it comes to tailoring your marketing, I've heard so many pastors and ministry leaders say, well, we're here to reach everybody. And that's the problem. If you're here to reach everybody, you're really here to reach nobody because nobody feels that you're specifically tailored towards them. Hello and welcome to Next Level Church Marketing Podcast, where we help church planters break growth barriers with next level digital strategies. I am your host, Larry Williams, and today we're kicking off an exciting series called The Ideal Disciple Discovery Process. In this series, we will dive into the tools and strategies that can help your new church plant and establish a thriving community of believers. In this first episode, we will be focusing on the power of demographic reports and how they can play a crucial role in shaping a successful church planting strategy. And before we get into this episode, I want to kind of give a background of why I believe that this process is so powerful for church planters. I have planted a church in the inner city of Tampa and probably will be planting a church in the near future. And I've also been on staff at many churches, and I've worked with over 100 churches nationwide through my digital marketing agency. And one thing that I've noticed when it comes to successful church plants that sets them apart from church plants that aren't as successful is they understand who their audience is. They understand who their audience is, and they really tailor their messaging and their marketing towards reaching those people specifically. And I know there are some people who are going to be like, hey, we're not into marketing, we're into ministry. Well, I actually agree with that. I believe in a ministry first marketing strategy. I don't believe it's just about putting billboards up and flyers, but I think that ministering first is the most effective strategy. However, when it comes to tailoring your marketing, I've heard so many pastors and ministry leaders say, well, we're here to reach everybody. And that's the problem. If you're here to reach everybody, you're really here to reach nobody because nobody feels that you're specifically tailored towards them. And if we look at scripture, we see Jesus having a target audience. He was called to the lost sheep of house of Israel. We know that Peter, his target audience was the Jewish people of the time. Paul's target audience was the Gentiles. It's important to understand who your target audience is, because when you are able to tailor your message towards a target audience, it's going to allow you to experience real growth real fast, because there is going to be an influx of people who meet that criteria. And if you tailor and focus your marketing towards reaching them, that's actually going to cause you to reach other people, because crowds beget crowds, and we are able to really get momentum through this process. And that's really what this ideal disciple process is designed to do. It's designed to help you to reach your target audience, to discover and to create a strategy towards reaching your target audience. And before we really get into developing who our target audience is, our messaging towards reaching them, we have to get a landscape or a foundation of what is available within your community. And that is why this particular episode is so important, because this particular episode allows us to discover who is in our community. We want to use data. We don't want to make assumptions. So we want to get the data that helps us to understand who our target audience is. And that is what we're going to be discussing today. The demographic report is important for church planter strategy. When you're starting a new church, understanding the community you're planning to serve is essential. Demographic reports provide valuable insights into the people living in your target area, their age, their income levels, their education, and more. This data helps you to tailor your outreach efforts and church activities to meet the specific needs of your future congregation. So let's dive into the 8 key data points that every church planter should look for in a demographic report. The first one is the current population. Knowing the size of the community that you are planting in is very important. Not only the size currently, but also the trends. So the demographic report that we use when we're working with our clients is we use one that actually shows the trends of the community. So what was the population maybe 5 years ago? And then what's the projected growth rate in the future? That's really important because that's going to help you to grasp a better understanding of how many people are actually moving into this area. And if you want extra credit, you can actually go down to the county planning commission and see what the county is planning to build in the near future, because that tells you how much confidence that they have that that community is growing. If you're noticing, for instance, more retail space being developed, certain stores are beginning to build there, more housing is being developed there. When you see development, you know that there is a trend of people moving into that area. And usually people don't spend money unless they have a good idea that there's going to be a return on their investment. So all of these things are really important for us when we're planting a church, because we want to know, like, is there a significant amount of people that are moving here, that are living here, families that are living here, that we can ultimately reach with our ministries. So this is really important. It sets the foundation for all of your outreach and growth strategies. So understanding the current population as well as the future population is going to give us a better understanding of who we are there to reach. So get that out the way. That's number one. Hey, church planter, are you ready to take your church to the next level and break through those growth barriers? If so, you're in the right place. I'm Larry Williams, and on this channel, we provide practical, proven strategies to help you reach more people, grow your congregation, and make a lasting impact in your community. Whether you're just starting out or looking to expand your reach, we cover everything from digital marketing tips, community engagement strategies, to powerful tools like demographic reports and discipleship maps to help you lead with confidence. So if you're serious about planting a church that thrives, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notification so you never miss an episode. Together, we'll unlock the secrets to effective church growth. And with the right tools, there's no limit to what God can do through your ministry. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see you on the inside as we break new ground one step at a time. Number two is the median age of the population. So we get a grasp of the total population, but now we want to look at the median age. This data point helps you to understand the age distribution in your target area. Are you reaching a younger crowd? Are you reaching an older population? This can significantly impact the types of ministries and services that you can offer from the start. I have worked with ministries that are in older communities, and we've developed strategies that help them to reach older communities. I've worked with churches in younger communities. I've worked with churches in all different types. It's not one or the other. I know a lot of times we want to focus on younger families, and those are usually the type of people that most churches want to reach. Younger families, those are like the prize people, but some churches may not be in a position to do that. I would suggest, as a church plant, you probably want to focus on younger families. However, there are some ministries that can really do well with older people. There are some that can do well with single people. Whatever God has specifically designed for you to do, that's what we want to focus on. But we want to also understand that it's just about knowing this information. That's the first step. You want to know what you're working with. That's what we're doing in this study. So the next data point that we want to look at is the average household size. Understanding how many people typically live in a household can help you plan your services, your small groups, your community events effectively. So we want to know how many people are living within the community. So is there more single families, single mothers, single fathers, or is it more of a family of 3 to 4 people? Is it more retirees? All of this, that's what we're looking at in the average household size, because again, this is going to be crucial in helping to put together a good game plan. We're living in a day and age that we can't make assumptions about our communities anymore. We need to make sure that when we speak about our community, we're speaking from a place of fact, of data, not simply assumption. I've heard so many people who plant church and they just have these assumptions about their communities. Maybe they grew up in their community and they're saying, oh, I really know my community. You might, but there might be some information that you're not quite as familiar with, and not knowing that information can make you make some key mistakes when doing certain things and making certain decisions. And we want to make sure that we have all of the data at our fingertips. That's very important. The next critical factor is the household income, the median household income. This data helps you to understand the economic background of the community, which can influence your messaging, the type of support programs that you offer, and even approach fundraising. So understanding the median income is going to be very important, because every church planter knows that you need money to start a church. You need money to start a church. That's just absolutely critical. You can't get around it. In order to start a ministry, to start anything, you need to have resources. So if you're entering into a community that does not have as much resources, you might have to find creative ways to raise funds to be able to support your ministry. So knowing all of that, but maybe you're going into an affluent area, that's going to require a different approach. So understanding that, that's going to be critical, very, very critical for you when you are entering into this new venture. Knowing the type of median income that you're entering into, that's going to give you a better understanding, and again, is going to help you ultimately fundraise successfully. Church planters, are you looking for a way to truly connect with your community and grow your church with the right people? I'm Larry Williams, and I want to introduce you to something that could completely change the way you think about church growth: the Ideal Disciple Discovery Process. This process is designed to help you identify and attract people who are meant to be a part of your ministry. We take into account your spiritual DNA as a leader, the unique mission of your church, and the specific needs of your community. If you're ready to find the ideal disciple for your church plant, let's talk. I'm offering free discovery calls where we'll assess your church's unique needs and see if the Ideal Disciples discovery process is a right fit for your marketing strategy. Click the link below to schedule your free call, and let's work together to build a thriving community of believers around your ministry. I cannot wait to see how we can help you grow. The next data point that we want to focus on is the education level of the community. Knowing the education levels in your area can help you create sermons, teachings, and programs that resonate with your audience, whether they are more academic or more practical. So knowing the education, there are some areas that are a lot more educated than others. So knowing that, that's going to help you, like when you're creating teaching, sermons, and all different type of discipleship material. You want to be able to make sure that the things that you're doing will resonate and connect with the people you're trying to reach. It's not watering it down, but also understanding that some people have a higher academic background, and that's going to require you to have a different approach when you're actually reaching them. So it's just important to understand these things. That's the key thing that we want to know here, is we want to understand them. The next point is the adult marriage percentage. This data tells you about the marital statuses of adults in the area, which can guide you in planning marriage counseling and family events and other relational ministries right from the start. So understanding, how many people are married, the percentage of households that are married, is going to be very, very important. If you're planning a church, most of the times you're wanting to know how many married people are there. If you're doing events, let's say you're doing a trunk or treat event, right? Or you're doing a Christmas event or an Easter event, understanding how many families live in the area is going to be really important. And it's going to be helpful to have that data available from the very beginning. The seventh data point is the number of people in church. This is a really, really important part, because you're going to know how churched is the area. Even if there are a lot of churches in the area, how many people actually go to church? How many actually are involved in churches? Because if I know most church plants, they're not trying to just reach other Christians. They want to reach the unchurched. So it's important you understand how many people are unchurched, and you don't want to assume that. A lot of people haven't gone back to church since 2020, since the pandemic. So knowing this from the very beginning is going to be very helpful in understanding the spiritual landscape of the community, as well as what are some unmet needs in the community when it comes to church that maybe your church can fill. Maybe there is a ministry that is needed in your community that no other church is doing. That's an open door. You're able to serve in a different way that other churches aren't. So being resourceful in that way is going to be extremely helpful. And then finally, we want to look at the generational mix of the community. This refers to the distribution of different generations within your target community. Knowing this helps you create programs that appeal to all age groups, from children to seniors, and ensures that your church is truly multi-generational from the outset. I know that's a lot of information, and I hope you see the importance of a demographic report for your church planting efforts. By understanding who you're trying to reach, you can create more effective strategies that resonate with your future congregation. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Next Level Church Marketing Podcast. Please be sure to click like, subscribe, share this with a church planter that you might know. This is for church planters. I believe that we need more church planting now than ever. And we need people who can plant church with a more creative way. We're living in a time where church is not resonating with our culture the way it once did. And we need people who can go out and really reach the community in a more effective way. The old way of planting church has not been very successful. We've seen a lot of churches fail after a short period of time. And what my goal is with this podcast is to give you the tools that you need, the strategies that you need to be effective when you're planting a church. And that's what this is all about. We will have another episode coming up that kind of piggybacks off of this concept, where there's really an 8-part process that we use in this series that's going to give you the foundation that you'll need when planting. So I'm really excited about that. But until then, keep breaking those growth barriers. Don't be stagnant. Keep breaking those growth barriers, and I'll see you on the other side. Talk soon.